the place. And I hope that I sing it in tune with my guitar in B flat. Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Postcards. I'm your host, Jenny Van West, coming to you live from the Postcard Studio, where it's always 70 and sunny, except for outside today. It's about 60 and raining. It's actually quite nice. So anyway, let's start out in the usual manner, after which we're going to bring in our special guest in a couple minutes, NIKKI O'NEIll from Evanston, Illinois, Chicagoland area. When you're down and you're blue and you don't know what to do, just write a postcard. When you're feeling fine and there's something on your mind, just write a postcard. Don't you know Grandma loves this show? She listens every time. You don't need a reason, you don't need a rhyme to write a postcard to P.O. Box 112. Oh my gosh, write a postcard to 224 Anderson Street. Just write a postcard. 04101. Just write a postcard to Portland, Maine. 'Cause Grandma loves this show. Well, welcome to Postcards, everybody. Isn't this exciting? Isn't this exciting? Well, let's see. Maybe I won't hang this up. This is my new baby. It's not new. It's just new to me. And she's going to hang out right here in the vicinity while we're doing our show. Because, of course, I didn't plan totally ahead, and I have no place. I don't want to stand up and hang that. Anyway, good morning, everybody. I'm so glad to see you. I'm so glad to see you here. And hello from London, Jojo Napai. Nice to see you here representing for the UK. How's it going over there? Diggy Cat, Thea McHugh Wood. Got a postcard, maybe, from you that I came to my new address. And Diggy Cat, great to see you here again. Always good to see all y'all. So if you're just joining us for the first time, I think we've got all old timers in the house today. But let me just tell you something. You can write to me, P.O. Box 1. Oh, God, I tell you, it's going to take me a while. It's going to take me a while before I can completely let go of that. And I'm going to turn my Wi-Fi back on because I think my connection's a little wonky. You can write to us, 224 Anderson Street, Portland, Maine, 04101. You know what? It's been a minute since I did a show, and it's been 2 weeks. I had a wonderful trip up to Baxter State Park. If y'all have never been there, this is not your mother's state park unless you're from Maine. It is wilderness. It's amazing, and had a wonderful time up there with the hubs, doing some hiking. Didn't hike Katahdin. Not going to the top of any mountains this particular trip, but we had a wonderful time. Hunting season started up there, so we had our orange caps on when we were outside the park, and met some great people coming down the trail, and got acquainted with Millinocket, Maine. Got an incredible history up there, and so anyway, happy to be back. Just a little discombobulated, and I hope you guys are doing great this morning. So let's see what's going on in the chat room. Yes, good morning. So we've got Detroit, we've got London, we've got Santa Clarita, and we've got Kansas City. All right, this is cool. So we have a very special guest this morning, a friend that I actually made during the pandemic and took a bunch of guitar lessons with her. She's a wonderful player, wonderful teacher, and a very, very cool person. Excellent songwriter, and we've just had a nice reunion, brief reunion this morning, catching up real quick about a couple things, and we got stuff to talk about and songs to hear. So, and good morning, Ronnie. Nice to see you here. So, I'm just going to say it's 11:05, and let's do it. Let's bring in NIKKI O'NEIll. Ready, NIKKI? Okay, here we go.
Yes, I am. Hi.
How's it going?
I love that theme song of yours. It just makes me smile. I love it.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. How are you doing this morning?
I'm good. Yeah, I'm good. We had incredible, for Chicago, incredible weekend. I mean, you could be out in a t-shirt and people.
I heard about that from my cousin.
Biking. I went biking, so it was super nice.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, I was talking to Mia yesterday, and she was saying it had been 80 or something on Saturday.
Yeah.
everybody was out, and yeah. So, well, I'm glad you got some R&R in over the weekend with some good weather, and before the inevitable sets in.
Yeah. Yeah. Which I think is like tomorrow or something. So,
Yeah, the wind off the lake and all that kind of stuff.
mhm.
So, so you want to just like start us off with the song, and then we'll start talking stuff and things?
Yeah,
Wanna do
sure.
that? Okay.
This is a new song. It took a while for me. I moved from LA to Chicago in November of 2020, and it's almost exactly today. I think it's 2 years since we embarked on our cross country move. Drove from LA out to Chicago, and it took a while before I wrote any songs. And I don't know why, but what kicked me back into action was this woman in Chicago. She's a singer-songwriter, Jenny Biederman, and she has a thing called Haiku Milieu. And there are these shows, and basically in order to play on the show, you gotta write a song that's inspired by one of her haikus. And she has like 2 or 3 books with them. And the haiku that I chose for this song is in the chorus, and it goes like this. And for those who don't know, so haiku is like a 3-line poem. I think it's like 5 syllables, 7 syllables, and then 5, if I remember it right. But it goes, as long as there's love, we've got a place to start and something to build on.
Awesome.
And the song is called As Long as There's Love. So
Nice. NIKKI O'NEIll on Postcards.
3. Bought my one-way ticket from New York to LA. A rainy day in Brooklyn at an internet cafe. The owner couldn't care less about our leap of faith, but I couldn't wait to get away and count down the days. As long as there's love, we got a place to start and something to build on. Gave it my guitar as we flew back to LA. And with every penny I could scrape, searching my records and books on tape, there's nothing left besides this bed and the picture of us two. But you call me every night so I can feel closer to you. As long as there's love, we got a place to start and something to build on. As long as there's love, we got a place to start and something to build on. Thousands of miles away, I'm caught in a strange place. Everything here is fading. My suitcase is waiting. 5 in the morning and the taxi's outside. It's raining and the driver says you're making New York cry. 16 years later, as long as there's love, we got a place to start and something to build on. As long as there's love, we got a place to start and something to build on.
Oh, yes. I love it. I love it. NIKKI O'NEIll here on Postcards. So this one came from the haiku that she had written, and her whole series is like, if you want to be considered for it, you have to write a song based on one of her poems. It's such a neat way to bring people in. And so this was, so that helped break the sort of like cold molasses of that you were
whatever
songwriting
that
at that time.
was. Cold molasses indeed. When you like, I don't know how, but if I take a break, it can be hard to just get back in and get the flow and get ideas. It's just a bunch of crap comes
Yeah.
out, and
Yeah.
you have to be patient and just keep on writing, let the crap come. I liken it to, you turn on a tap and there's like brown water that comes out, when you haven't been writing for a while, and
Yeah.
then just trust the process, just keep on writing and the water will clear. And
That's
you
a
get
great way
your,
to think about it. I love
yeah.
that. I love that tap analogy because
Yeah.
it's
And
yeah.
and I think doing that show, it was just, accountability. It was like, well, I said that I was going to be on it and I'm going to write a song, and you had to send in a sketch because she had a backup band and they would read the charts. And yeah, I mean, that would just be terrible if I had backed out, chickened out, and didn't write. So that was good. And
Yeah.
I just chose to write about how my husband and I met, and we had a long distance relationship for not very long, 6 months, but I was in New York, he was in LA.
Yep.
And yeah, that's the song.
That's awesome. Well, speaking of Rich, you mentioned when we were corresponding this week that you have done a around the world in Chicago experience. So I want to hear about that. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. So it was actually his idea. Back when we lived in LA, this was 4 years ago, we were kind of getting jaded with the city. And you think that you've seen everything, but really you've just like, many of us are creatures of habit. So you go to the same places, you see the same things, and then you think, oh, I'm tired of the place. And I mean, LA is a big city, so there's a lot to see. But we were jaded, and he said, why don't we explore every country in the world in alphabetical order, explore the food and the music, and get a little bit about, the country history and things like that. So we started with Afghanistan, and 85 countries in. Now we're in
85.
Chicago, and we just completed Iran. So yeah, it's 85 countries till that. There's 195 or something in total.
Yeah.
We took a little break during the pandemic because, yeah, obviously restaurants were closed, or it was, hard to get out. But yeah, so we're doing this in Chicago, and we're basically, we'll check out some info on YouTube about the country first, and then we'll try to find the restaurants. And if there are no restaurants, then maybe there's like say an African grocery store that specializes in West African, specialties. And usually you can find something like that in a big city like Chicago or LA or so. And then, if there's no restaurants, then we'll cook at home, and we'll play the folk music and the pop music of the country as we're cooking or as we're driving to the restaurant. And yeah, so it's a lot of fun.
Yeah,
And
that's what a cool way to like enrich your lives and get to know about your neighbors and
absolutely.
just
And yeah.
invigorate your creativity and all of that.
Yeah, and it also you get, especially with some countries where your only image of it has been negative, maybe through news or, say I'll bring up another African country, Rwanda. You know,
Yep.
so associations have been a lot of like misery, war, things like that. But when you look into the art and the food, that humanizes the people and gives a different aspect. And speaking about humanizing, this has happened very literally. I was on my way to the airport, and the driver, I noticed that he had a like distinctive Caribbean accent. So I asked, "Where are you from?" And he said, "I'm from Haiti." And immediately after saying I'm from Haiti, he proceeded to say, "It's just problems. We only have problems. There's like political corruption, misery, hurricanes, earthquakes." And Rich and I had been to a Haitian restaurant in Chicago and tried the food, which
Oh,
was
interesting.
amazing.
Yeah.
And so I have my little list on the phone because it's hard to remember all the names of the original names of the dishes. So
Oh, so you've been keeping
oh,
track. You've been taking
yeah, we're keeping track.
Nice.
So I
Nice.
said, oh, but Haiti has some of the best food in the Caribbean, and we tried griot stew. And he just lit up and smiled and said, oh, my ex-wife makes the best griot. And did you go to this restaurant? And the conversation changed completely.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, so that's
So interesting. I mean, sorry to interrupt you. I was just going to say, like, what a memorable conversation for both of you too. I think, as you might know, I'm a big believer in the power of cultural interactions and having a common theme, a common subject,
And food is something people are very proud of often.
Yeah. And, the interesting thing saying, how the conversation changed.
Yeah.
And
it really did. And we were in LA a couple of weeks ago, and I kind of did the same thing. There was a driver who was from Ethiopia, and then there was a lady, Uber driver, who was from Egypt.
So cool. So cool. Well, I'm super inspired. Tell Rich, I think he's brilliant, and
it was a genius idea.
It's a genius idea, and it should be happening everywhere. So
it keeps on giving. It's like, yeah,
totally. Well, speaking of food, one of the things that we do every week, Nikki, is look at the steals and deals. And guess what? It's time to do. We're going to do that right quick. We're going to look at the steals and deals from Portland this week. So I'll just give a quick. I'm not going to do a long one because we got you on the show, and I don't want to make you feel like
I want to hear.
So what I do every time, what happened was I've been like 3 weeks in a row. I didn't have any postcards in the mailbox, and so I was like, I get these every single time. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to read these, and lo and behold, it's so much fun. Before we get on to that, though, Diana Griffin-Ennis from the Heartland Song Network and KKFI in Kansas City has something to say. I am most thankful for cultural exchanges like those you are sharing. It's what my partner and I are focusing on these days, too.
Cool.
That's awesome. Very cool, Diana. Thanks for sharing that. Okay, steals and deals. First thing we're going to look at is Hannaford's. All right, so let's take a look here. Everybody's favorite Nabisco family size Oreo cookies, $3.49. Well, I would say that if you've got the time, for about $1.50, you can make homemade cookies. I'm just going to say that. If you don't get the really expensive butter, but there's probably a deal on butter in here somewhere. Let's see. Pineapples, $2.49. Now I'm going to say the last time I got a pineapple here in Maine from Hannaford Brothers, it was not great. So just be aware. I don't know how you test for a good pineapple. But if anybody has any insights into that, steals and deals. You're giving me an idea, Nikki. You and Rich are giving me an idea. It would be really cool if we had international steals and deals, like from all the local grocers. I know there's a bazillion of them in the Chicago area. There's a ton of them around here of like what's on sale at the Asian grocery at the corner of blah 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 or whatever. I'm thinking that.
You know what? Two friends of ours, they were going to get into dumplings from all over the world because almost every country seems to have some version of dumplings, whether it's Poland or China or Germany.
Tasty vittles inside some dough.
Yeah.
And then cooked. Oh yes, it's a perennial favorite. Well, I will say that this is not dumplings, but at Market Basket, which always has the great design circuit. It looks like it came out in 1965, except for the prices. Sometimes the prices are 1965. Last thing I'm going to read. You can get Ben & Jerry's two for $6. Okay, so I'm going to stop there. That's been steals and deals for this week. It's a short one. I'm too inspired right now. I'm too inspired to get too deep into those steals and deals. I'm thinking international steals and deals is going to become a thing. I'm not sure how that's going to manifest, but we're going to work on that. Well, if you're just joining us, welcome to Postcards. I want to say real quick, you can write to us 224 Anderson Street, Portland, Maine, 04101. We do have mail this week, and I'm going to read it at around 11:30. We've also got this very cool, very wonderful guest here, NIKKI O'NEILL, joining us from the Chicago area. So glad to have you here, Nikki. And
Great to be
so,
here.
so I think it might be time for another song. What do you think?
Sure, why not?
Let's do it.
Speaking of, building bridges between people and countries, I'll do this song. It's called "Love Will Lead You Home." 1, 2, 3, 4. Time rolls on like a mighty river. When a deal goes down, will you stand and deliver? If your life was a book, tell me what would it say? Would you show it to friends? Would you hide it away? Love will lead you on. Love will lead you on. Everyone lives with the choices they make. Is there one that still haunts you? Some awful mistake. Don't give up on yourself or who you really are. Find light in your soul. Keep your eye on that star. 'Cause love will lead you home. And love will lead you on. It's waiting for you. Don't turn it away. It's waiting for you. It's waiting for you. Don't drive it away. It's waiting for you. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Life is so short and we all struggle with fate. Do you say yes to love or are you tempted by hate? 'Cause we're all in the same dance, all the way to the end. So give your brother a chance. And won't you make your sister your friend? Love will lead you on. And love will lead you on. Don't you know that love will lead you home? Home, home. Don't you know that love will lead you home? Home, home, home. Don't you know that love will lead you? Love will lead you. 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 Love will lead you.
Nikki O'Neill here on Postcards. Ah, I love that one. It's got awesome harmonies, Nikki.
Thank you.
It's so fun to hear you play again almost in person. Almost in person.
Thank you. Likewise.
Yeah,
likewise. I missed your voice. And
thank you. Well,
cool jazzy songs.
Yeah. Oh, thanks. Well, and it's always just inspiring to me to hear the way that you I'm going to just make up a word here, instrumentalized your own songs and use those amazing guitar chops to tastefully fill out your solo renditions of songs. So thank you. Thanks for sharing that. So you have been working with a band. I know Rich is in your band.
Yes.
Playing the drums.
My husband's in my band. He's the drummer.
Yeah. And tell me a little bit more about who you're working with these days.
So yeah, it took a little while before, because of the pandemic. It just, we arrived new in a city and you want to explore the music scene. And we're usually, the way we make friends is by meeting other musicians. They have tended to be our friends. And so it was a little weird during the pandemic to, come out and you're in a bubble and nobody's going out anywhere. So it took a little while. But this year, I pretty much, got a band together, and it's Chris Stanford on bass, Rich Lakowski, my husband, on drums, and Chris Corsali is the newest, well, no, not the newest addition, but Chris Corsali is a fairly new addition. He's on lead guitar, and does backing vocals. And then we just got a keyboard player, Teddy. I think his name is Teddy Riley. He is so new that I kind of forgot the last name.
That's awesome.
I'm sorry, Teddy, if you're seeing this.
Okay, Teddy, you still got a job.
Yeah. Teddy's debut is going to be on Thursday. We're going to play a gig. So, yeah.
That's right. You got a show coming up Thursday. It looks like at the Montrose Saloon.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about the Montrose Saloon. That sounds like a cool place.
Yeah, it's a kind of in the center of the city, not like downtown, but it's a cool bar, a lot of live music. The owner is a musician himself. It's a just cool vibe. They've got a great outdoor patio. Yeah, it's just a very warm and welcoming venue for live music in Chicago. And
cool.
Usually 3 bands a night or singer-songwriters. But yeah, Montrose Saloon, cool place.
Sounds cool. Awesome. And you said, you've got a brand new keyboard player. So this is going to be his first, like you said, his first test drive with y'all.
Yeah.
And so it sounds like, and you've been teaching at the Old Town School of Folk Music.
Yes.
Did I get that right?
Yeah. Okay,
Old
Town School.
Good.
Yeah, actually,
that place is legendary.
Old
yes.
Town School.
Old Town School of Folk Music. There it is. This place is legendary. And and so it sounds like there's just like with your songwriting being sort of like kicked back into gear, and your band is coalescing, and you've got a teaching gig that it sounds like you love.
Yeah.
That things are starting to fill out again. That's really awesome to hear. Yeah. So just real quick, if you're just joining us, this is Postcards. We're talking with NIKKI O'NEILL, coming to us live from Chicago. You can write to us, 224 Anderson Street, Portland, Maine, 04101. We have mail coming up in just a couple minutes. Super excited to get our very first postcard in the new location. And so let's see, what did I want to ask you about? Oh, I know what I wanted to tell you. There was another comment that I wanted to share with you, which is about FAI this year. Folk Alliance International Heartland Song Network is including an international night or a private showcase room at the upcoming FAI conference in Kansas City. So excited to present artists from all over Europe, South America, and Africa so far. So that's awesome. FAI's got the Heartland Song Network specifically is creating a venue for folks. It's really going to be a neat thing, I'm sure. Sorry, I'm not very articulate this morning. You're getting the lesser. It's Monday in the Postcard studio.
It's all good.
It's all good. So, well, I think it's time to read a postcard. What do you say, NIKKI?
Sure, why not?
All right, let's do this. Okay, so we got a lovely postcard from New York City. That's my favorite building in New York, right there. That one right there is the Chrysler Building. And often shown as what it really truly is, which is actually quite a bit shorter than its friend there, which of course, like
Empire State. Yeah.
Thank you, the Empire State. my God, I don't get out much. I've been in the North Woods, folks. Okay, I've forgotten all my New York terminology. But anyway, I didn't know if you knew Thea from the Horizon Foundation who sent this, that is my favorite building. So it's going up on the Postcard Wall of Fame over here. It says, "Hi, Jenny and Postcards peeps. Just finished an awesome 4-show run with Tedeschi Trucks Band at the Beacon Theater." Mm. That's a good reason to go to New York. That sounds like
it's a great venue.
Yeah. Between that and the 10 Irish pubs crawl, my husband and I are wiped out. Next stop, ATX for ACL and Tito's Vodka's 25th anniversary party. It's better to burn out than fade away. Rock on, Thea of Horizon Music, I Heart New York. Awesome. Thank you, Thea, for sending this beautiful postcard so that we can read it on the air. And this is officially the first piece of mail that has come to the new post office box. So there you go. That's the mail. Well, Nikki.
Yeah.
What do you say we want to do another song?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
Let's do this.
We can. So this song, I was. Well, I wrote it together with Paul Menser. He wrote the lyrics, but we played around with the idea of. Is there such a thing as a lucky place, a lucky city? Many people, come to LA or Nashville or New York for that matter, since we were talking about New York, and maybe have some hopes of, making it or, experiencing some success. And for some people, those places are indeed lucky cities, and for others, not so much. So we're just playing around with that idea, and maybe Chicago is becoming a luckier city for me. Although I didn't think LA was unlucky in any way, but anyway, so this one's called Where Luck Can Find Me. And I wish I had these like Spanish castanets. There's a little rhythm where it's like da 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 da. But
okay, people at home, just get your castanets out.
Picture it.
All right, NIKKI O'NEIll.
Okay, let's see. When I was in school, my teachers told me to mind all my P's and Q's. I kept my head down, did all my homework, but all it gave me was the blues. Now I have a job working the drive-thru, making up songs in my mind. My name is Mindy, how can I help you? 8 hours is a long time. I know fortune favors the strong. Well, I've been pulling my weight all along. I wanna go where luck can find me. I know it can't be far away. Just give me one break. Will you guide me? And I will be grateful till my dying day. It's Saturday night, I'm eating takeout, watching a rerun of Friends, college degree, basement apartment. This can't be how it all ends. There's a cafe I'd like to go to, with people singing past the hat. I hear their songs, and I'm thinking that I could do better than that. I know fortune favors the bold. I gotta break out before I get old. I wanna go where luck can find me. I know it can be far away. Just give me one break. Will you guide me? And I will be grateful till my dying day. Hey, maybe you were brought up the same as me. gonna try on a new set of clothes. Head for the city or back to the land. There's gotta be people who will understand. I wanna go where love can find me. I know I can't be far away. Please give me one break. Will you count me? I will be grateful. I will be grateful. I will be grateful till my dying day. Ooh, ooh,
Oh, yeah, Nikki O'Neill right here on Postcards. Awesome.
Trying to sing the guitar licks, but
Love it.
can't do them both at the same time.
Yeah. Well, you know, life goals, right?
Yeah.
That's a great one. You know,
Thank you.
I started to get some curiosity kicking up while I was listening to that. But first I want to say hello to, I got a couple questions for you, but I want to say hello to a couple of people who just joined us. Judith Wyman, great to see you here, coming in from Queens. Max Jones and Jeffrey Randall, Carolyn Irving Hinsky from out your neck of the woods. Well, let's see. Great to see you guys here this morning. Wow, we just got a nice little flurry of people showing up and listening in from all over the place. Great to see you all here. We're here with NIKKI O'Neill coming to us live from Chicago. She's got a show coming up on Thursday. Just going to say this because we do have some folks from your area. She's going to be playing the Montrose Saloon with her band, 8:15, Thursday, October 27th, downtown Chicago. Somewhere, not downtown. Somewhere
Not downtown. It's gosh. I'm still learning the neighborhoods because I'm kind of new in town. I mean, I almost can't use this excuse because I've been here 2 years, but with the pandemic, I feel like I moved here this year, so I'm new.
Yeah.
But Montrose Saloon. It's Google it. It's easy to find.
Sounds like a good hang, and
very good hang.
Maybe you'll get a couple listeners from Postcards that might wander over there this Thursday to hear you and your band and your brand new keyboard player.
And there's a great band right before us. Wild Rust, and
Wild
they are
Rust.
a husband and wife duo with beautiful harmonies, and they are actually driving from LA to Chicago because the guy is a Chicagoan, but
interesting.
So come 7:30, it all starts, and it will be Wild Rust to do half-hour set, and then my band will. And my band, I'm so proud of them. They're such kick-ass guys, great musicians.
Awesome. I'm happy for you.
We'll do our twang, soul, and rock and roll thing, and
awesome. That's great. That's great. Well, so a couple questions that kicked up while you were playing, Nikki. You know, it's about songwriting craft and sort of assessing your own writing as you get into things. You know, I was curious about how you know a song is good and is a keeper for you. I'm curious about how do you have, and that's a big question that could go all the kinds of different directions. But I'm curious about how you know you're gonna keep a song in the rotation. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Keep it in the rotation. Yeah, because there's songs that I felt strongly about when I wrote them and when we recorded them, and then I can feel looking back that, I'm better at writing lyrics, or so then that song gets taken out of the set list. And maybe, some artists, they kind of take liberties with their lyrics and they might change them a bit.
Yeah.
And so there'll be a new version. And I've been toying around with that idea because maybe that's worth doing. But I don't know. It's interesting because if you have a knowledge of the craft of writing, then you can, write a song and you know, the knowledge helps you to solve problems quicker. So if you have, you know, a knowledge of the chords in a key or something, or, you know, common chords in a song, you can kind of put together a song, at least musically. It might not, if a song is like too, if it's just all about craft, then I tend to not want to return to it as much. There's got to be, the muse has got to be involved there somehow.
Yeah.
So, or that maybe, you know, you played around with, experimented with a way of writing. Because sometimes I think we all can kind of get habitual about how we write, especially if there's been a way that's been working for you. I don't know about you, but like, I mean, me and Paul is like a guy who I wrote a lot of lyrics with on my last two albums. And, you know, one thing we were doing was you have a catchy title or an intriguing title, and then you kind of write the lyrics, and he would start by writing the lyrics. And then once I see something take shape, it's easy for me to hear music and melodies and riffs and hooks and things like that. And we would do that for quite a bit. And then I get nervous because I don't want it to get formulaic. So, it's good when you're in a flow, but, you know, I had a song, World is Waiting. It's like the title track of my latest album. And there I was toying around with a drum machine. It was like one of these, instead of a, you know, effects pedal that, you know, guitarists have, it was a drum machine pedal. And you can use that, you know, as a songwriter to just sketch ideas. And it was this cheesy little drum beat. It sounded like something from a Prince album from the 80s. It was like it sounded very homemade, but in a cool way, because he had this album, Dirty Mind, where it almost like everything sounds very demo-ish, but in a very cool, punky, funky way. And yeah, so it was like a little drum beat. And it went something like, it was this hi-hat beat. Da, 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 da. Dun, dun, da, 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 dun, dun. I mean, it's short. It was like, you know, 4 beats long pattern. And then I laid on this riff that sounds like a blues riff. And I played it for Rich at first, and he said, well, I can't do anything with that. That's like really short. And that drum machine, that's not going to work. You can't, like, I don't know if you can do that on drums. It was like, please, because I got so excited about my little pattern. And I would play it for Paul, and he said, yeah, it's good. Just develop it, you know, make it longer. And I did. And at first, Rich wanted to do something that would fit. And that sounded like kind of a standard blues beat instead of that little drum machine thing. And I was like, no, we got to have this, you know, thing. And so to cut the long story short, you know, I developed all the sections, and the bass player, this was back in LA, he found a cool groove. Rich like started to play around with this drum beat and found a way to make it work for live drums. And then when the keyboardist added stuff, it was like, he totally got the idea. And that is still one of the songs I'm excited about, like most excited about, because it came out from play and something experimental. So how do you know a song is good? I don't know. It's got to move you. If it doesn't move you, then how are you going to move other people? And it's hard, though, to keep, for me, it's hard to keep that excitement. So, like, you got to make it feel like when you're on stage playing as exciting as when it was when you sat at the kitchen table and completed it, completed a section. That can be hard to do. You got to find that angle or the subtext in the lyrics or something, because it's so easy to make your mouth just kind of sing the melodies and, you know, go on autopilot. And
well, and when, you know, when the touring is happening, and there can be, you know, there's a grind to it, and
It can be, yeah.
keeping things fresh on a mic is a challenge and a skill set in and of itself. Finding creative ways to do that. If you're just joining us, we're talking with NIKKI O'NEILL, coming to us live from Chicago. Guitar player, songwriter, teacher, human being, amazing human being. So glad to have you here, NIKKI. And we're talking craft, and we're talking teaching, and we're talking bands, and we're talking everything. So we're so glad you're here. We got a couple listeners I think we got to say quick hello to. Let's see if we got everybody. I think we actually got everybody. So, well, what do you say? I think it might be time for one more song. What do you think? What do you think there, NIKKI?
Sure.
All
This
right.
song, so it's another co-write with me and Paul, and I recorded it. I could just, because I have a funny little story or fun story. I recorded it in Memphis at Royal Studios, where Al Green recorded his classic 70s albums, and Ann Peebles also. Rich and I went to play it during Americana Fest in Nashville. And because we're going to go to Nashville, I said, we have to go to Memphis and Muscle Shoals.
Great.
Because that's like Mecca for me, musical Mecca. And so we went to first, I booked a session at Royal Studios, and Willie Mitchell is the legendary producer who did those Al Green records. His son, Boo, is the owner of Royal now and the engineer. And he's, done a lot of amazing work on his own. Uptown Funk, Bruno Mars. That's his session, for instance. And so I booked the session. Boo was going to engineer. And we get to Memphis, and the day of the recording, first we go to Al Green's church, and it was very cool. Al is a pastor, or he calls it Bishop Al Green. Now, he's a bishop nowadays, and he's got this church outside of Memphis, and it's like a 2.5 hour sermon, and but the band is kick-ass. So whether you're religious or not, it's you can be there digging the music. The ladies in the pews, they have mad tambourine skills.
Oh my God!
I got to learn from them. It is so cool. And
cool.
So we after the sermon, then his keyboard player gave us a drive to Royal, and then I had my little acoustic guitar, this one, and they pulled out the mics, and I remember it dawned on me suddenly what room I was in and the talent that had been there. The adrenaline started to rise, but there's like, this is not the moment to chicken out. Just one of those moments, like, I'm hopefully older and wiser. I don't back out, don't quit. So, and this is the last song on World is Waiting. So it's just me and the acoustic guitar, and it's called Take Back What I Said.
Awesome. NIKKI O'NEILL here on Postcards.
Before I even knew it, it was already done. Facing the reality from which I couldn't run. Now I sit and wonder why there isn't any way that I can take back what I said and get you back again. A careless word in anger, thoughtless as I was, I would not apologize, no reason, just because when you shut down on me, then I wanted desperately to take back what I said and get you sing if they'll make you see. I was wrong to make you cry. That's not really me. I can't change, I know it's true. And the least that I can do is take back what I said and get you back again. Get you back again. Get you back again. I must have felt the adrenaline from Royal Studios come back at me now.
Did you really? Did it? I didn't notice. Did you get some nerves? Oh
yeah,
my
I got
God.
a little nerve there.
But that's so interesting. You know,
I haven't played the song in a while, so I thought
yeah,
I'd dust
it's a
it off.
great one. It's a great one. And it was so, I'm telling you, stories are important. Stories really matter. Stories are kind of the glue to everything. And as you were talking about your experiences down there and going into the studio there and going to church first and
getting the full Al Green Memphis Soul experience.
Yeah. And I think as a, I think sometimes that other people, see us, they see our social media posts and they do this and they do that and they come see us live and we're just like gangbusters and we're just on it and confident and all this kind of stuff. And there are these really pivotal moments in music where we just get flat out humbled by our surroundings, by the people, by the music that we're in, the culture that we're in, the places that we're in, and the history of what we're in. And I just thank you so much for sharing that story about that, because as you were playing that, I was like, well, he probably loved this song. I'm just going to say that. Did he? Did he love it?
The engineer, yeah, I remember that we did like 2 takes or something, or 3 takes, and I insisted on doing more, and he said absolutely not. He said, because wherever I'm putting down, queuing it up, wherever I am in the song, it feels good.
Yeah.
And he said there's something about his dad, Willie Mitchell, who was, an incredible musician in his own right. Before he became the producer, he was a trumpet player and he's a master arranger. And he always was very against perfectionism. So
yes, in the studio, against perfectionism, and that's a great stand to take.
Yeah, he's like, if there's and Boo said, I can play you some Al Green albums and I'll point to you where there are some serious like mistakes, flubs and things, whether it's the band or the vocals. It's not about having a perfect performance. It's about having the energy, the vibe, the mood, the feeling, so
and how important it is not to extinguish the soul of something, reaching for the unattainable.
And that's the thing also, like, if we're perpetually in a mode of like feeling a bit nervous or so, as I feel as an artist, you gotta grow, you gotta reach for new things. I'm constantly trying to reach for things vocally that might not be quite there yet, but you work at it, it will become just like, you learned a G chord on the guitar. At first it was really hard. But then there's a time where it's like it's gonna get easy, and so you can't just be perfect. I know friends who like they take years and years before they do a gig, or they took years to mix an album, and I feel like you put a pause button on life when you do that. And
Yeah. And it's in finding that balance in any instance in terms of recording is, I think, one of the great challenges of producing and being an artist, you know,
yeah,
and being, I just love that. I just love everything you just shared because you know, being able to reach for those things that we're trying to develop, vocal stylings, or, you know, in my case, I've been working, as you know, I've been working on my guitar playing, requires the sense that it's going to be all right if things fall apart a little bit.
yeah.
Or maybe even a lot. Maybe they could fall apart completely. It can be really hilarious. I find my own mistakes just hilarious now. They're so funny. It's like, you know, if I'm up on stage and I screw something up, I'm just like, there it is.
No,
You know,
I
got
try
caught
to have
up
a sense of
short.
humor about it. And because if you're nervous and you show it, then the audience, they'll get uneasy. They'll like feel bad for you.
Yeah.
But if you like are, you know, take it with a sense of humor and move on, then it's
Yep.
fine. And you maybe made people smile a little bit. And this doesn't mean that I like am careless. I want things to be
Yeah.
good. Absolutely.
Totally.
I want to, you know, sing well, play well. It's kind of a balance. I mean, yeah, sometimes I try to reach for things vocally or guitar wise. It might be a little out of reach. Sometimes it's about becoming friends with the voice that you have, not get too um, I don't, was it somebody I heard who was like, you know, try to thrive with what you've got instead of feeling discontent with what you're not. Or,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
so it's, yeah, be friends with your sound, your voice, your playing, and make
Yeah.
the best version of you.
Yeah. The best version of you.
Version of you, yeah, and that like includes my guitar playing. I mean, there's like tons of people who play circles around me, and you know, if I go to a blues jam or something, there's people who can like shred and wail and improvise a lot better than me. But I might, you know, have other strengths. I can come up with a good riff, or I play with feel, or maybe I'll play something memorable. But
Yeah.
you know, maybe it's a
Yeah.
short solo, but it's, you know, something that people can remember. And it's just, there's, I don't know, there's so many different paths.
I love that about you, Nikki. I always, whenever we've spoken or I've gotten to hear you play, it's always I leave with a feeling of like about 6 or 7 different ways that I can dig into my own deal and move and push the needle, you know, in a good sense. So thank you for that.
Likewise.
I think
Yeah.
that's the hallmark of a great teacher. Am I right?
Well, I'm constantly taking, I mean, I quote people. I'm always like, somebody said something wise, and I don't always remember who it was, but,
Yeah.
and I'm always, you know, like learning from other people. And maybe that's just my mode. Like, yeah, I'm a teacher, but I'm also a student very much.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah.
Well, Nikki, I got to tell you, this has been a great time, and we got a couple more people to say hello to. You've got a listener in Albania this morning, Amira,
Oh, cool.
my sister over in Tirana, Albania. Hi, Jenny. Hello from Tirana. I miss you too. I miss you, Amira. Follow Mandela Shumi for writing a nice message to us this morning. The Berkovsa family has representation in Portland these days in the form of her brother, Ili Brekovsa, who plays the accordion. He's a master accordionist and folklorist from Albania who works, he's also a master carpenter. He works for our friend Orson with their company there. So anyway, Amira, really nice to see you here. And you got a nice little message here from Diana Ennis. Looking forward to checking out your music. You'll not be disappointed, Diana. You're going to have some fun tracks for the radio. That's what I'm telling you. And And let's see, Idel Batin, nice to see you here. Thank you, Uncle. So good to see you. My uncle from South Africa who lives here in Portland. All right, well, listen, Nikki, we could go on saying hello, hey, howdy, and talking about stuff and things all day, I feel like. And I'm so grateful to have had you here on the show. I appreciate you making time. And if you would like to play along in B flat, completely out of sync, across the time zones, across the ether, and all this kind of stuff, this is the funniest. This is a way to just talk about experimentation and making mistakes. It's just going to be totally screwed up by the internet.
Let's see, B flat. Are you major or minor?
Major.
Okay.
Yep. When you're down and you're blue. Oh, and thank you everybody for being here. I forgot to say that. It's been great to be together this morning. When you're down and you're blue and you don't know what to do, just write a postcard. When you're feeling fine and there's something on your mind, just write a postcard. Don't you know Grandma loves this show? She listens every time from North Moldova. You don't need a reason. She's going to be on the show next week. You don't need a rhyme to write a postcard to 224 Anderson Street. Just write a postcard. 04101. Just write a postcard to Portland, Maine, 'cause Grandma loves this show. Thank you, Nikki. It's been great.
You took a second, and I'm like, oh, okay, I gotta get in the 251 chords, the jazz chords. It's like, oh my God.
Well, hang out for a second. We'll say hello and goodbye in the green room. And everybody, thank you so much to Tasty Brew Music. Postcard on its way to the new Addy. Nice to see you here. Thanks, everybody. Great to see you. And thank you, Nikki. Check out Nikki. Go to her website for all details, NIKKI O'NEILL. And we will see you next week.